Long before the rise of crowns, banners, and fractured empires, there existed an order of guardians who believed the body was the least important part of a warrior. Steel could break, armor could split, blood could be spilled, but the will, if forged correctly, could endure anything. They were called the Wardens of the Steadfast Mind. Though few records of them survived the centuries, they built no grand fortresses and served no throne. Their halls were hidden in storm-carved mountains beneath cliffs where thunder rolled for days without pause. There they trained sentinels not in conquest, but in resistance. Their doctrine was simple. A curse could weaken flesh, a spell could chain movement, a voice could whisper terror into the mind, but nothing could truly command a soul that refused to kneel. Among the Order's youngest initiates was a sentinel whose name was later lost, though her resolve became legend. She was not the strongest among them, nor the fastest, nor the most gifted with blade or shield. Yet when the trials began, she endured what others could not. She crossed fields of whispering illusions where doubt spoke in the voices of dead friends and forgotten family. She walked through halls where time slowed until every heartbeat became an age of suffering. She stood beneath mirrors that showed her failure again and again, each reflection urging her to surrender. Still, she did not yield. The elders watched in silence, for they understood what she had begun to prove. Courage was not the absence of fear. It was the refusal to be ruled by it. When the sentinel reached the last chamber of the Order, she expected combat. Instead, she found only darkness. No enemy waited there. No weapon was placed in her hands. No spell marked the floor. The chamber simply closed behind her, and the voices began. They did not shout. They did not threaten. They whispered. They told her she was alone. They told her the Order had abandoned her. They told her every sacrifice had been meaningless. Then came the pain. Not the pain of wounds, but something deeper. Pressure against the mind itself. A crushing force meant to bend thought into obedience. Her limbs grew heavy. Her breath slowed. Her heartbeat faltered beneath the weight of invisible chains. For the first time, she understood the true enemy the Wardens had prepared her to face. Not monsters, not armies, not death, domination. The dark forces beyond the frontier did not always kill with blades. They spread curses that froze soldiers where they stood. They filled the mind with dread, confusion, and paralysis. Entire battalions had fallen without a single wound, kneeling helplessly before the battle even began. The sentinel felt that same power clawing at her spirit, but she remained standing. Not because she felt no fear, because beneath the fear something harder remained, a clear, silent refusal. When the chamber opened at dawn, the elders found her upright, pale, shaking, but unbroken. And in that moment, they knew their doctrine had found its living proof. The Order feared that such resolve would vanish when the sentinel was gone, so they chose to preserve the lesson, not as a scripture, not as a weapon, but as a relic. From beneath a storm-struck mountain, the Wardens recovered a shard of crystal unlike any they had seen. Some claimed it was black as frozen midnight. Others described it as pale and translucent, veined with dark crimson lines that pulsed faintly like a living heartbeat. The alchemists carved it into an elongated vessel shaped like a splintered fang. Around its neck they fused two curved horns of crimson metal, symbols of the mind's twin guardians, discipline and defiance. Its stopper was sealed beneath the twisted crown of black iron, forged to represent resistance against all forms of control. Then came the draught. For many nights, the Wardens gathered in ritual silence. They refused food. They refused sleep. They meditated until thought itself became steady as stone. Through strange techniques of crystallized minerals, volatile essences, rare herbs, and ancient warding rites, they captured fragments of disciplined will and bound them into liquid form. The result was clear as winter air, yet heavy with quiet force. It did not glow like fire, it did not roar with power, it waited. The elders named it the Vial of Unbroken Resolve. It was not created to grant strength, It was created to restore command over the self when fear, curses, and unnatural influence tried to steal it away. The first time the sentinel drank from the vial, she stood upon a battlefield already lost. Curses rolled across the frontier like a black tide. Warriors froze mid-step, their eyes wide with terror. Shields fell from numb hands. Horses collapsed, screaming at things no mortal eye could see. The enemy had not yet reached them. It did not need to. The battlefield itself had become a prison of the mind. The sentinel felt the curse strike her like winter iron. It wrapped around her thoughts, pressed against her chest, and tried to lock her body into stillness. Then she lifted the vial. The draught burned down her throat like cold fire. At once, the world changed. The whispers vanished. The weight that pinned her limbs dissolved. The terror clawing at her spirit lost its shape, sliding away as though it had struck stone instead of flesh. For a short but crucial span of moments, nothing could seize her again. No curse could cling to her. No stunning force could halt her. No paralyzing dread could command her body. Witnesses swore the air itself recoiled around her, as if unseen powers had realized their influence had been denied. The sentinel advanced, step after step. She crossed the hex-ridden field while others remained trapped in fear. Through storms of mind-breaking magic, she walked untouched. Every curse shattered as it reached her. Every force meant to stop her failed. It was not strength that filled the flask, it was defiance made liquid. But the vial carried a quiet warning. The draught did not create courage where none existed. It revealed what was already there. Those with discipline felt their minds sharpen. Panic cleared. Pain dulled. Confusion broke apart like mist beneath the morning sun. But those who lacked inner resolve found only bitter heat. Some collapsed beneath the strain. Others trembled as the potion forced them to face the emptiness behind their fear. The vial did not lie to its bearer. It did not comfort the weak with borrowed bravery. It offered clarity, and clarity could be cruel. Even for those worthy of its power, the relic demanded a price. Those who relied on it too often began to change. Their thoughts became sharp as glass, but cold as winter stone. Joy dimmed, anger faded, grief weakened until memory felt distant and unreal. The mind became untouchable, but the heart became harder to reach. The Wardens understood then why the vial could never be treated as an ordinary potion. It was not meant for every battle, every fear, or every wound of the spirit. It was meant for the final moment. The moment when terror grips the soul. The moment when curses close in. The moment when the mind begins to fracture. Only then was the vial to be raised. Only then was the draught worth its cost. For many years, the sentinel carried the Vial of Unbroken Resolve across cursed frontiers and broken warfields. Where others froze, she moved. Where others surrendered to unseen voices, she remained silent within herself. Where dark powers sought to bend her mind, they found no weakness to command. Legends grew around her. Some said she could not be stunned. Some said no curse could survive touching her blood. Some claimed fear itself avoided her shadow, but the truth was quieter. She had simply learned to stand. In time, the order faded. Wars scattered its wardens. Cataclysms buried its halls. The mountains that once sheltered their trials cracked and fell into ruin. The sentinel disappeared with them. She left no grave, no monument, no body to mourn. Only the vessel remained. Travelers found it centuries later in places of impossible danger. Beneath collapsed sanctuaries, in the hands of dying mercenaries, beside the bones of champions who had stood against horrors no army dared face. Each bearer told the same story. The liquid inside never emptied completely. No matter how often it was used, a thin measure always returned, slowly reforming like breath against cold glass. Today, the Vial of Unbroken Resolve is spoken of in ruins, war camps, and forgotten roads where fear still hunts the living. Wanderers say its crystal body pulses faintly before disaster. Mercenaries claim its crimson veins brighten when curses gather nearby. Relic seekers whisper that the stopper cannot be opened by a trembling hand. Those who drink from it feel what the sentinel once carried. Curses shatter upon use. stunning forces lose their hold. For a brief window, neither terror nor hex nor shock can subdue the bearer again. But the old warning remains. The vial does not grant bravery. It strips away illusion, panic, and influence until only the truth of the bearer remains. If resolve is there, the draught reveals it. If it is not, the silence that follows can be worse than fear. And so every legend ends the same way. When the moment comes that would break lesser souls, when fear claws at the mind, when chaos surrounds from every side, the bearer lifts the glass vessel, drinks the burning draught, and stands their ground. Unmoved, unshaken, unyielding.